Hey everybody, we are going to do page 180 and 181 in your grammar work text. This one, grammar work text, right there. Page 180 and 181. Okay, so, and this is an intro, so I'm just going to do the first exercise, or the first question in each exercise, and then you're going to do that on your own. So please turn to page 180, and then let's jump right in and let's look at it. Exercise A. Manuscript form, capitalization, punctuation. Now this is all the way back to the beginning of the book. Draw a line through any errors in manuscript form or capitalization and write in the necessary corrections. Okay, so manuscript form was the first chapter. Punctuation was the second chapter. Let's just look at this book for a second and let's go to the table of contents and take a look. I guess the manuscript form, library, paragraph, capitalization, and then punctuation's down here at 7. So potentially you're going to have questions in this exercise that cover several chapters. Okay, so it says you need to look for manuscript form, capitalization, and punctuation. So that's, I guess, that's Unit 1, Unit 3, and Unit 6 or 7. Let me see. We just saw it. Unit 7. Capitalization is 4. Okay. Draw a line through errors in manuscript form or capitalization, write necessary corrections, and then add punctuation. My nephew Kenton will be traveling this summer in the New England states. Okay, so let's do some capitalization first. Beginning of every sentence, you have to capitalize the first letter. New England is a region. You don't capitalize seasons. You do capitalize proper names. Okay, now let's look at punctuation. We don't have any manuscript form here, I don't believe, because we don't have any abbreviations or hyphenated words or anything like that. But the question is, this Kenton is in a positive for nephew. Do we set that apart with commas or not? Now, if you recall, you have to know whether or not, or make a judgment call as to whether or not the positive is essential. If it is essential, then I don't believe you do, but let's look it up. Okay, so I'm going in the book for looking for commas, 37, 39, and 42. Okay, so here we go. On page 39, use a pair of commas to indicate a non-essential element in a sentence. Non-essential element can be omitted and the remaining words still mean what they were intended to mean. The non-essential element merely gives additional information about something already identified. An essential element cannot be omitted without causing a change in the intended meaning. The essential element identifies that particular person, place, thing, or time is meant. What particular person, place, thing, or time is meant. So, use a pair of commas and one mark of punctuation composed of 2 syllables, but these symbols are not to be thought of as 2 single commas. Okay, so what it's saying is the double comma is its own thing. It is not to be considered a comma and a comma. There is a specific punctuation mark called a comma, a pair of commas. So let's look. Robert E. Lee, comma, who commanded the Confederate Army, was a great general. Okay, so this is considered not essential because Robert E. Lee is that's a specific proper name. So we know who it is, and he was a great general. The man who commanded the Confederate Army was a great general. That is essential because the clause is necessary to identify the word it modifies. The man was a great general who commanded the Confederate Army. Makes you understand specifically who it is. All right. If the non-essential element come first or last in a sentence, only half of the pair of commas is necessary. Now, that's not the situation we're in now. Let's see. Use commas to set off non-essential appositive. An appositive is a noun or noun equivalent placed beside another noun or noun equivalent to identify or explain it. Now, this is what we have. Use commas to set off non-essentials. And a positive is an, let's see, we already said that. Mississippi, comma, the Magnolia State, comma, has a wide variety of plant life. The appositive, the Magnolia State, merely adds explanatory information. It's not, it doesn't change the meaning, therefore it's non-essential. If the appositive is short and closely related to the expression it follows, it's usually an essential positive and no commas are needed. And essential positives are often only one word. His friend Sam, the poet Edgar Guest, Charles the Bald. So this is our situation. My nephew Kenton, okay? It says if they're short and closely related, it's usually essential and no commas are needed. So that's the answer to our question. We do not have to set that apart with commas. Okay? We are finished. I just wanted to check and make sure I didn't miss anything. This is correct the way it is. Okay, so you do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on your own and upload that. Exercise B, subjects and verbs. Draw 2 lines under each verb, draw 1 line under each subject, and circle any verbals. Now, you know what a subject is. It's the word that the sentence is about, the main topic or the main subject of the sentence. And then verb, of course, is the action, or it is a being or linking connection between the subject and some other part of the sentence. And then you've got the verbal. A verbal is a verb form, but not being used as a verb. So we got to circle those as well. Let's look. True repentance is to cease from sinning. All right, so the subject is repentance. The verb is, and we're going to circle to cease because that is an infinitive. You know why I know it's an infinitive? Because it is a verb form. Cease is something that you do. That means to stop walking or to stop whatever you're doing. That's an action verb. But in this case, it's preceded by the word to and used as a noun. And that makes it an infinitive. Okay. So that's what that is. I need you to do 2, 3, and 4 on your own. The sentence. In the blank before the number, write S for sentences, frag for fragments, and RO for run-ons. All right. We ought to be getting good at this by now. Let's hope. Number 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, comma, the evidence of things not seen. Do we have 2 independent clauses? Do we have a dependent and an independent, or independent and dependent? What's the situation here? Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for. That is independent, isn't it? That can stand alone. All right? The evidence of things not seen. Is that independent or dependent? The evidence of things not seen. Can you walk into a room and stand in front of everyone and say, the evidence of things not seen, and then walk away and have them understand what you're talking about? No, the answer is no. That is not a complete thought. So what you have is an independent clause, a comma, and a dependent clause. And you can connect dependence to independence with a simple comma. So this is a sentence. It's perfectly appropriate the way it's written. If this had been an independent clause, something that could stand alone, we know that one is, you would need a comma and conjunction or a semicolon for that. Okay, so you do the rest of those, and we'll correct them next week. Subject and verb agreement. Cross out each incorrect verb form in parentheses. The Grants is or are planting 50 tomato plants this spring. The Grants. Is that one or is that multiple people? It represents a family. Is it one family or is it multiple people? Well, if I said the Grant family, I would be talking about a singular thing. But this is the Grants. This is like the trees. You see? So that's multiples. There's more than one person in the Grant family. The Grants are planting 50 tomato plants. So we need to get rid of is. Okay. Let's look at the next one and then I'll let you do the rest. There go or there goes Mr. Jenkins with his wife and children. You don't say there go. You see there goes. There goes Mr. Jenkins with his wife and children. Flip it around. Mr. Jenkins goes there with his wife and children. See how that makes sense? So you got to get rid of go. Okay, you can do the rest yourself. It's 3 through 25. There's a lot of those, but they're easy. And then the last exercise, exercise E. Using verbs, cross out each incorrect verb form and write the correct verb form above it. So we're just looking for incorrect verb forms. Observing Melinda for several months, I knew she could do much better work before her illness began to affect her. There are a few bad verbs here, aren't there? All right. Well, first, observing Melinda for several months is an inappropriate nominative absolute. Okay. So instead of that, to make a nominative absolute, you need a substantive that's preceded by a participle or participial phrase. All right. So having observed Melinda for several months. Okay, so the substantive is Melinda. Having observed is your participial phrase, right? It would normally be a verb, but it's being used as an adjective in this case. Having observed. And so that's how you form your nominative absolute properly. You can look up nominative absolutes if you want, but that's the correct one. And then we've got used to could. So we know that's wrong. We can fix this several ways. Let's see. Let's just get rid of could and put she used to be able to do much better. It's a little wordy, but it is correct. It's not. It would not be incorrect to do that. So these you have to do number 2 through 12. Get those uploaded. Do your best work. Get them uploaded, and I will give you a grade, and we will correct them next week. Okay. Thank you. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.